but I have to share just a quick little anecdotal. That last song that we sang, I remember when it came on the radio, and I had quite the dislike for it. Because maybe it's my speakers aren't crisp anymore from blaring music, but I could have swore that the third line was sin like never before. And I'm like, this is so completely inappropriate. It gives a whole different spin when you get sing and not sin. But since I have learned the proper lyrics, I do quite enjoy it and appreciate it. But there's always a smile on my face when I hear it. This morning we're in chapter 31 of Genesis. And while last week there didn't seem to be a whole lot of action going on, we get a lovely little scene this week. Let's begin in verse 1. Now Jacob heard that the sons of Laban were saying, Jacob has taken all that was our father's, and from what was our father's, he has gained all his wealth. And Jacob saw that Laban did not regard him with favor as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and to your kindred, and I will be with you. You have to appreciate the grapevine. You know, little things start getting said, and it spreads, and it spreads, and it spreads. And Jacob hears what Laban's sons are thinking. And he realizes something has changed. Now, it mustn't have been extremely pronounced. But it didn't seem like Jacob was having that same relationship with Laban. And Laban's sons had grown enough that all of a sudden Jacob seemed to be a rival. And they were basically saying, look, Jacob has gotten rich off of our father. And we are losing our inheritance to him. You can imagine that making for a tense, rocky relationship among the family. Jacob seems to be slipping in the eyes of Laban. And just at that moment, God shows up. And God speaks clearly to Jacob. Return to your homeland. Return to your people, and I will be with you. Now you remember, as Jacob was coming to Haran, he heard pretty much these same words, that God would be with him. And at that time, Jacob did what we humans do. Well, if God sees me through all of this, I'll serve him. Well, Jacob hasn't gotten to that place yet, but he still understands that there is something special about God, and that God's very presence holds him and takes care of him. So what does Jacob do with this? Verse 4. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah into the field where his flock was. And he said to them, I see that your father does not regard me with favor as he did before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength. Yet your father has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times. But God did not permit him to harm me. If he said the spotted shall be your wages, then all the flock bore spotted. And if he said the striped shall be your wages, then all the flock bore striped. Thus God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. In the breeding season of the flock, I lifted up my eyes, and I saw in a dream that the goats that mated with the flock were striped, spotted, and mottled. Then the angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up your eyes and see. All the goats that mate with the flock are striped, spotted, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me. Now arise, go out from this land, and return to the land of your kindred. Then Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, Is there any portion of inheritance left us in our father's house? Are we not regarded by him as foreigners? For he has sold us, and he has indeed devoured our money. All the wealth that God has taken away from our father belongs to us and to our children. Now then, whatever God has said to you, do. Jacob had heard from God to go back to his homeland, but he does, this is shocking, he does something intelligent. He decides to discuss it with his wives. Now, we need to throw any kudos we can to Jacob because Jacob doesn't do well often. But here he is. He brings his wives out to the flock and he starts to go over all of the problems he's having with their father. He lays it out. They're telling all kinds of stories about me. They're saying I'm stealing his goats and I'm stealing his sheep, and that's not the way it's gone down. You know, you've been here, you've seen it. I've dealt openly and honestly with him. And he's telling this whole story. He is trying to warm them up to the idea of, we're leaving. It's what it's all about. He just doesn't come straight out. He's trying to sell them on it. What he doesn't realize, and we don't realize until we get to verse 14, is the daughters are just as upset with Laban. Rachel and Leah look at him and say, well, where's our inheritance? He's squandering all of it. He treats us like foreign women. You don't have to sell us on leaving. We'll go. We'll do whatever your God has said. Let's just do it. Now, I want you to realize, unlike when Jacob left his home, he's not running away out of fear. He's not worried about himself. He is not concerned for his life or the lives of his wives and his sons and his daughter. He is leaving because God has now said so, and God will be with him. Verse 17, so Jacob arose and set his sons and his wives on camels. He drove away all of his livestock, all of his property that he had gained, the livestock in his possession that he had acquired in Padan Aram, to go to the land of Canaan to his father Isaac. Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's household gods. And Jacob tricked Laban the Aramean by not telling him that he intended to flee. He fled with all that he had and arose and crossed the Euphrates and set his face towards the hill country of Gilead. When it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob had fled, he took his kinsman with him and pursued him for 7 days and followed close after him into the hill country of Gilead. But God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream by night and said to him, Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. So Jacob had consulted with his wives, and in so doing, prepared everything to flee, to bug out. And he arises and he sets the whole process ago. He loads them on camels, and they are out of here. This is happening while Laban is out shearing his sheep. And while God had blessed Jacob, Laban must be doing all right, because it's 3 days of shearing. I can't imagine that. In my mind, I'm thinking, how long does it take? Done. But then again, they probably didn't have the electric trimmers, so they're out there maybe. Take a little longer, but 3 days. As they were packing up, Rachel, the beautiful one in appearance, decides she will take Laban's household gods. We're not told exactly what she does with them yet, but she takes them. They're not hers. She steals them. And here we are going to introduce a new term that I have never heard before. I think I created it, so you can ooh and ah when you hear it. She is God-napping. It's not a kid to kidnap, God-napping. Jacob doesn't know about it. And they head out. And they're moving along to Canaan. The 3 days end, Laban comes home and he finds out his family is gone. Rachel and Rachel's sister have fled with that man, and all my grandkids are gone. Yeah, I didn't say Leah's name because I'm still trying to play up that she's not well loved. They've departed. Laban didn't even have the opportunity to say goodbye, to kiss his daughters, to kiss his grandchildren, wish them well. This is not the way he should be treated. He's been disrespected. But he's warned by God to be careful not to say anything to Jacob, good or bad. Because you remember, going all the way back, God has sworn to Abraham, to Isaac, anyone who blesses you will be blessed. Anyone who curses you will be cursed. God has not forgotten. But the plan for Laban isn't finished yet. So the warning comes. We might say in our day, God tells Laban, contain yourself. I mean, he's mad. He's angry. How dare he? For 20 years he spent his life under my roof, and this is the way he'll treat me? So what's Laban do? Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban with his kinsmen pitched tents in the hill country of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, what have you done, that you have tricked me and driven away my daughters like captives of the sword? Why did you flee secretly and trick me, and did not tell me, so that I might have sent you away with mirth and song, with tambourine and lyre? And why did you not permit me to kiss my sons and my daughters farewell? Now you have done foolishly. It is in my power to do you harm. But the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. And now you have gone away because you longed greatly for your father's house. But why still my gods? Laban and his kinsmen close ground quickly. They catch up with Jacob, and it allows Laban to have this conversation. Here he is appealing to Jacob as an authority. He is the head of this family. He is the father. He has rights. How could you trick me and bug out? Had you told me you wanted to return home, I would have sent you off with a huge party. We could have sang and danced and eaten. It'd have been a good old time, but you secretly run away and trick me, taking my family with you. You see, Laban didn't realize that Leah and Rachel also wanted to go. It's in my power to do you harm. By rights, I could do with you whatever I want. That's my right as the father. But the God of your father spoke to me last night. Did you hear that? Not your God, but the God of your father spoke to me last night. And he warned me. So I'm not going to be terribly ugly to you. I respect the God of your father. And I can understand you're homesick. It's been 20 years since you've seen your relatives. I can understand you wanting to go. But why would you steal my gods? Here's the beginning of what's right for you might not be what's right for me. Laban has respected the God of Isaac, but Laban is arguing that Jacob doesn't respect his gods. Why else would he steal them? Jacob answered, and he said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I thought that you would take your daughters from me by force. Anyone with whom you find your gods shall not live. In the presence of our kinsmen, point out what I have that is yours and take it. Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Jacob is feeling pretty secure. Jacob is feeling pretty good. He has dealt with Laban openly and honestly for these last 20 years. So he gives the permission. Go ahead, search everything. And whomever has your gods, they will surely die. Jacob doesn't realize Rachel has them. Never occurred to him. Why would she take them? Rachel never actually tells us why she takes them. But all of a sudden, the love of Jacob's life is in danger. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the tent of the two female servants, but he did not find them. And he went out of Leah's tent and entered Rachel's. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them. Laban felt all about the tent, but he did not find them. And Rachel said to her father, "Let not my Lord be angry that I cannot rise before you. For the way of women is upon me." So he searched but did not find the household gods. Laban searches diligently for what's his, and he can't find it. He goes from tent to tent, and I'm sorry, in my image, it is always, in this story, that image of a police raid on TV. He walks into the tent and just turns over everything. Nothing in Jacob's. Into Leah's, and he just tosses everything. Nothing. And into Zilpah's and Bilhah's, and nothing. And he goes into Rachel's, nothing. And he walks out, and you can imagine, he had arrived on the scene angry. He has made a pretty strong accusation in front of the rest of his kinsmen that you have stolen something, and he's not finding it. All the while, Rachel is nicely sitting on the camel. "Oh, Dad, pardon me if I don't get up. It's that time of the month." We don't know if it is or it isn't. Nothing's actually stated. We just have to take Rachel's word for it. Now we have learned that the gods are hidden in the camel's saddle on which Rachel is sitting. Now you may ask, why does this stop Laban? Well, here's why it stops Laban. In that part of the world, that time of the month, the woman is unclean. Anything she touches is unclean. Anyone who touches her becomes unclean. The gods are in the saddlebag that she's sitting on. Bag's unclean. Bag has touched her. Oh, the bag is touching the gods. Are you ready for this? Laban's gods are unclean. Wait a minute. How can mere mortals make gods unclean? It's just crazy. Laban's not willing to test it. He doesn't want to become unclean, so he just leaves it alone. Whew. Rachel was spared. But you see, what Moses is pointing out to us is Laban's gods are no gods at all. If human behavior dictates their power and their ability and their righteousness and their holiness, they aren't gods at all. For God is sovereign. God is powerful. God is able even when humans aren't. See, that's what we sing about, how great is our God. That he's not confined to our abilities and our finiteness. He's so much more than that. Surely we never God nap our God. Surely we never still his sovereignty. Surely we never question his ability and his power. Surely we never put ourselves over top of him and tell him what needs done. Then Jacob became angry and berated Laban. Jacob said to Laban, "What is my offense? What is my sin that you have hotly pursued me? For you have felt through all of my goods. What have you found of all your household goods? Set it here before me and my kinsman and your kinsman, that they may decide between us two. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried, and I have not eaten the rams of your flocks. What was torn by wild beasts, I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it myself. From my hand you required it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. There I was. By day the heat consumed me, the cold by night, my sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have been in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flock. And you have changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been on my side, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. God saw my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night." Jacob goes from being accused to being the accuser. All of that, the translation is, "What have I done to you, Laban? Why would you pursue me like this? Show everyone. What have you found throughout all of my belongings that's yours? Right here, right now, in front of all of your family and mine. Have I not been honorable to you? 20 years. Remember earlier we heard that Jacob had served 14 years for Leah and Rachel, and it seemed but like days because he loved Rachel. All of a sudden, it's not a short period of time. It is 20 long years. I have endured the heat. I have frozen in the night, caring for your flocks. What have I done to you? Lay a charge right here, right now. And I know, had God not been with me and blessing you through me, you would have sent me packing a long time ago with nothing. So God saw my affliction and he rebuked you last night. Jacob. Winning friends. Then Laban answered and said to Jacob, "The daughters are my daughters, the children are my children, the flocks are my flocks, and all that you see is mine. But what can I do this day for these my daughters or for their children whom they have borne? Come now, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me." Pause there. You want a quick translation of that into modern day precise English? I got nothing, so let's make a treaty. Let's promise to each other. Let's swear to each other right here and right now, we will not harm each other. You will care for my daughters and my grandchildren, and I won't kill you. That sound good, Jacob? You notice it's Laban that asked for the covenant? Jacob's done with the whole thing. He has moved on. His heart is already in Canaan. Laban wants some security. He wants some peace because Laban knows he has falsely accused Jacob, and he doesn't want Jacob coming back for revenge at some point. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. And Jacob said to his kinsmen, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Gilead. One more reason to like Jacob more than Laban, he names things we can pronounce. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. Therefore, he named it Gilead. And Mitzpah, for he said, the Lord watch between you and me when we are out of one another's sight. If you oppress my daughters, or if you take wives besides my daughters, although no one is with us, see, God is witness between you and me. Laban demands a covenant. And if you read that real closely, if you look over it real closely, Jacob never responds to Laban. He just acts. You want a covenant? Here's a pillar. Guys, he talks to his kinsmen. Guys, go get me more rocks. Never responds to Laban. I have to say, verse 49 always brings a sweet memory to me. As I look out, there aren't a whole lot of people my age, but maybe some of you will remember this. Back in junior high school and high school, Spencer Gifts was the place that young people hung out at the mall. Spencer Gifts had these incredibly cool necklaces. They were for the guys that were in a, for middle school and high school, a serious relationship. How serious do they get? Yeah, okay, fair enough. But they were awesome. They were half necklaces. They were a perfect circle that were broken down the middle, and it contained this Bible verse, and you gave half to your sweetheart, and you kept half. And when you were wearing those necklaces, you both were somebody. I mean, it sounds all kinds of sweet, right? The Lord watched between me and you when we were out of one another's sight. Oh, young love. But that is so far out of context. This isn't about Laban and Jacob sharing a moment of mutual love and respect. This is, in the Wiley translation, I do not trust you for a minute, and I know you don't trust me for a minute. So God, keep an eye on him. That's what this is saying in context. Now that I think about it, most of my junior high and high school relationships probably should have had that context too. They are splitting, they are breaking apart, but let's not kid ourselves. This is not a fun, friendly way to part. They don't like each other very much. Then Laban said to Jacob, See this heap and the pillar which I have set between you and me? This heap is a witness, and the pillar is a witness, that I will not pass over this heap to you, and you will not pass over this heap and this pillar to me to do harm. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. And Jacob offered a sacrifice in the hill country and called his kinsmen to eat bread. They ate bread and they spent the night in the hill country. Early in the morning, Laban arose, kissed his grandchildren and his daughters. He blessed them. Then Laban departed and returned home. While there is mutual distrust and dislike between Jacob and Laban, Laban gets the opportunity to say goodbye properly to his daughters and grandchildren. And Jacob is on his way. It turns out well, even if it's all muck in the middle. What should we take from this? First thing, much as what Jacob was told by God, we need to pay attention, see what is going on. Listen to what God says. It's time to go home to Canaan, Jacob. And then do. It's that simple. And the beauty is that God said He will go with you. And once again, what we need more than anything else is God's very presence in our lives. Second set of things that we need to remember. Do not God nap. Now, I'm not talking about little trinkets and idols. We do pretty well with that. But do not cut the power, the intelligence, the might, and the love and righteousness of our God. For God is a jealous God, and He loves immensely, but He will not be mocked. The final piece I want to hit you with, it's fairly simple. Still throughout chapter 31, nowhere is Yahweh referred to as Jacob's God. He is God of Abraham, his grandfather. He is the fear of his father Isaac. And Jacob always responds in that way. Jacob understands that there is a God. Jacob understands that he wants God's presence in his life, but he is never committed. Oh, church, do not be Jacob. You see, we have a whole lot of people in our world that will say, yes, there is a God. Yes, God is good, but that's far enough for me. They've not taken the step to trust Him and follow Him in their lives. They live on the periphery of joy and peace. They live on the periphery instead of being right smack dab in the middle. You see, God made Himself known to Jacob multiple times. And somehow Jacob would still miss it. So in the course of time, God made Himself visible to all of us in Jesus Christ, who would come live a life completely focused on God. He would point us constantly back to the living God, His Father, and He would implore of us, trust me. invite me in to be a part of your life. Commit to me, for I am highly committed to you. And he showed his commitment by going to Calvary and taking our sin, that we could approach through his actions and through his grace a holy God, and we could cry out for forgiveness. For if you believe in your heart and profess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, you shall be saved. Today is the day of salvation. If you have not trusted Jesus into your heart, we beg you, we ask you, we implore you, consider it. As our musicians come. As we close out this morning's service, think